Welcome in joining me in my third session of Ker Nethalas into the Midnight Throne. And where I left off with the second session was going through my very first room where I killed a Abyssal Vexter. There are a few other things that I have left out which I would love to go back to take a look in the grave collar where I can raise a skeleton. And I've checked out the rules. It seems like it costs 2 standard actions, and in the rulebook it states every single action is part of a combat. So in this case, I'm wondering if I'm not in combat, will I be able to use this standard action? Alright, so it's actually inside this chapter, as you can see here, and clearly it states that a standard action are the core of a combat round and the self-contained and result seen in the same turn. So I'm wondering if I can use this ability, since now I am kind of going out of a round in combat, kind of transiting outside of combat, and I wonder if it's against the rules to actually do that. To actually raise a skeleton. So I have searched some rules on the internet that says you may do that. So as you can see here, that's why. Right, so this is my last search, and I have found, yeah, in Board Game Geek, someone has actually raised this question not too long ago, and that was my question. And there was an answer saying yes. So far, yes, preferably someone went out of combat by YMC. I think it really makes sense to do summoning outside of combat because as far as I have played the RPGs, it really makes sense to summon or to raise dead after your combat, although you can do it in combat. So I'm gonna go ahead to raise a skeleton using the corpse of the Abyssal Vexter that I have defeated. So this cost 5 Ether. So these are the stats of the raised skeleton. I'm going to put them down somewhere where it's easy for me to refer to. Alright, so I'm going to pay the cost of 5 Ether, and remember that okay, and I think I'm good with this. I'm gonna put this down somewhere where it's convenient for me to refer to that I have a raised skeleton. Just gonna put it here, right? And I can refer it in the game. Okay, and so after I'm done with that, I'm supposed to also go through some healing, which I can for toughness, as it states here. I can heal my toughness temporarily. All characters recover D4 toughness immediately after a fight is over. So I roll a D4 and I'll recover it. So I'll roll a D4, see how much I recover. It's a 4. Wonderful. I wonder if I cheated on that, but that's fine. So I will go back to my maximum of 19. Okay, and I'm back to full toughness. Awesome. In fact, I need to reconcile my armor usage, which I have an armor integrity of D8. But fortunately, I think I did not use my armor. I was not attacked. I did not defend. So in this case, I don't think I would need to roll for integrity of my vambraces. Okay, so now I'm ready to venture into a new dungeon. I almost forgot one more thing, which I will have to indicate that I have used a light source. So I have a total of 20, so I will do a first marker over there indicating that I have depleted 1 light source out of a 20 so far. Okay, and let me roll for a room. First of all, that would be a D100. Alright, I have a 7. I've scored a 7 over here. So 1 to 25 means I have encountered a corridor, so it's a corridor. I will go on to draw this. Wonderful. I have many doors that I can, which is wonderful. You can see here there are many various doors, choices that I can decide where I want to go. So let me draw this down. So as you can see, I've gotten my corridor up. Now I'm gonna roll a d20 to find out the description of the corridor. It's 11 and 11. Yeah, it would be here. This white corridor is lined with towering statues and ornate sarcophagi. Faded tapestries hang from the ceiling, telling stories of ancient rulers. What I'm expecting over here would be rolling for doors, locked doors, traps, and so on. So I'm gonna continue this way up to see up northwards to see if there's an opening over at this door. First of all, I will find out if the door is locked by rolling a d20. So the door I'm gonna check would be this one over here. I'm going westwards. 18. So 18 means it's locked, right? So I will determine the difficulty on the random difficulty table. So I'm gonna roll d8. It's an 8. It's impossible. My goodness. So I've been having so much trouble with doors. This is really no good. It seems like a very tightly locked place that I'm dealing with in Ker Nethalas so far. So this is locked. Maybe I'll go north this time round over at this door. I'll roll d20. It's an 8, which means it's not locked. Okay, excellent. So if it's not locked, it means it's not trapped. So I do not have the roll for traps if it's unlocked. Okay, so I'm back here again, and I'm gonna take a roll to see if the next one is a room or corridor. Okay, it's an 18, means it's still a corridor. So 18 looks like this. So I've drawn my corridor, and I'm gonna test the next door to see if it's locked or not. So back to the same thing. It's quite tricky. I might encounter a trap, which won't be great. Okay, so I'm gonna roll my d20. A 12 plus means it's locked, and anything below means it's not. A 19, great, it means it's locked. Okay, now I will determine the difficulty level again by rolling a d8 if I'm not wrong. Right, the d8. Ooh, a 6. I've been getting really difficult doors. It's demanding. It's -10, not too bad. Too bad, not too bad. Demanding door. It's demanding. Okay, so it's gonna be a -10, and I'm gonna try to break it down. So I'm gonna write here door is locked. It's 10. I'm gonna decide to open it, obviously. So I'm gonna try to roll for to see if there's a trap by rolling a d10. Okay, let's hope that it's not trap. Oh, it's a 6. I have escaped the trap again. Wonderful. So a 7 or higher means it's trapped, so it's not trapped, which is great. I'm gonna try to bring the door down. I can't pick the lock, so I'm gonna do my athletics check again. So my athletics is here. I refer to my character sheet. It's indicated over here, which I have a 40. Okay, so I have a 40, and the difficulty is -10, so which brings it down to 30. I need to roll a score below 30 on my D100, to see if I have successfully broken it down. Okay, let's go. Wonderful, it's 30. It's just nice. So it means that I have failed. That was close. Second attempt, I get a +20 increase, so that would be, I have to roll a 50 in order to break down the locked door. That's a 94. So 94 means I failed again, so hang on, I need to roll for tension. Alright, so this is where there's a penalty in making noise. Okay, I'm at my D6, which is very close to the D4. I still have a chance, so let's hope I don't get a 1 or 2. It's a 6, wonderful, I passed. And I will roll for my second tension over here. 2. Alright, so it goes down by 2, D6 to D4. Okay, so I'm down to my last die before anything happens, before a growing darkness happens. I'm here. Okay, so I will go for my attempt 3. So this time round, I will need to roll a 70 to break the door down. Okay, let's see if I have the same luck as I did in my previous session, or is it gonna be the same? 40, my gosh, I failed. I failed. Oh my goodness. And I have to roll for tension. Exciting, exciting. I think this really brings out the game, you know, to get into trouble and to see how bad can things go. So let's roll my D4 to see if I have triggered a growing darkness event. Oh, I have rolled a 4. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, I'm now going to my 4th attempt, which I should pass. I have to roll a 90. I have to roll a below 90 in order to break the door down. So let's go. Alright. And I have a 90. Oh my god, I can't believe this. And I failed. Things are not looking good for me. Okay, and I have to roll my tension die. This is so bad. And I roll a 2. Fantastic, something's gonna happen. Failed. Okay, now let's have a look at this. Refer back to the rules book and look at tension. And let's see what happens from there. So I am already down to my D4 and I roll a 1 or 2. So I have triggered what we call a growing darkness event. And these events, these effects stay on through the game, essentially making it even harder for you to survive in Ker Nethalas. Okay, so I'm gonna roll on my D100 and see what is the Growing Darkness event coming up from here. I have a 14. Okay, 14 would be over here. You hear a distant rumbling and feel a chilling gust of wind. All elemental opponents receive +10 combat skill. Let's put that down into my character sheet. Alright, so I have successfully broken down the locked door and I have triggered a Growing Darkness event, which is not great. And so I have to reset my tension die back to D8 again, which is great. So I'm not sure why I started with D10. It seems to say that I am supposed to start with D8. So coming this far into the game, I think it's not necessary to reconcile that. That's fine. I started with D10, but I saw that we need to roll a D8 first to a D6 and D4, so that's fine. I will just stick to it and just take it as perhaps a handicap or beginner's start. I have also some experience points for breaking down a door, so that's +10 XP, which I will put it into my character sheet before I forget. So instead of 60, now I'm up to 70 XP. Oh, it's only available for rooms. Is that true? How about corridors? So no, I can't do a scavenging check, that's fine. And I will roll a D100, hopefully it's a 26 or higher. Oh, it's 20. Looks like I don't have the luck to, well, whoa, it's a 20. It looks like I don't have the great fortune of meeting another opponent. It's very strange today. I can't get through the doors. I keep getting corridors. I'm not meeting anyone, any enemies, which I really want to. Alright, so let's take a look at 20 would be here. Ah, okay, that's interesting. A hidden alcove branches off the main passage, housing a forgotten altar or a small shrine. Dust-covered offerings lie undisturbed. Okay, looks like there's some worshipping of deities, idols and gods in this room, in this corridor, compared to the previous one, which had like the flags and stuff of conquerors. Right, so I'm back here. So I think in this episode, it really familiarizes me on the mechanics of door checks, trap checks, difficulty checks, tension die checks, and growing darknesses. So it's pretty interesting, right? Not too bad. Like, without a combat encounter, it's equally fascinating. Like, I am not sure I would know what I'm getting into. Would there be traps? If there's a trap, what happens? Which I have not triggered a trap yet. And also, the tension die really adds to the dimension of the experience again, the growing darkness events, which are really interesting. So this is really great. Okay, so I will now roll for a door to see if it's locked by a D20. It's a 5, it's not locked, which is great. I will just go on to open it. So I will trigger, of course, the tension die again. Okay, so now let's roll for the next map. Let's have a roll on the map table to see where I end up. Is it a corridor or another door? Let's see. D100. Okay, hopefully this time around I get something interesting, which is a 26. Okay, great. I have a 96 this time. And 96 brings me to this room over here, this huge room over here. Okay, now let's draw it. Excellent, so this is how my dungeon looks like. Can actually see it over here. Let's see if I can continue to roll for the room description if I want to. It should be great. I enjoy the narrative part of the game very much. So I'm gonna roll my D100. So that's a 51. 51 would be here. The room is plagued by an unnatural freezing chill that numbs the bones as soon as you enter. It kind of tells me that perhaps there's some frost or ice elementals that linger around in the room. But let's see what happens. Okay, first I'm gonna do my layer check to see if the Overseer is in this room. D12 over here. It's an 11. Passed. So a roll of 1 to 2 on a D4 means you have found the Overseer. So I'm still quite far away. I'm still safe. Not too bad. Couple of rooms more to go, I think. Maybe likely more. So I'm gonna put down here. Nope. No. And once I enter a room, I need to roll for tension again. A 3, which is great. Narrowly passed the tension die check. Okay. An encounter. I hope there would be an encounter. I think that's the whole point of playing the game. I'm gonna roll a d20. So if I score 10 and above, it means I've encountered some sort of enemy. Right. A 17, wonderful. I'm meeting someone, finally. I have missed out something, which is I need to roll for combat encounters at Corridoors as well. But I have to roll a 15 plus. Okay, it seems like I've missed out quite a fair bit. That's strange. I tried checking though. So it didn't state anything from here all the way until here. Okay, I have missed that out. Let's just say that I have not had any combat encounters for the last couple of rolls for my Corridors. Okay, let's move on. That's fine. We move on from there. Okay, combat encounters. I do roll d6. A 5. That would be combat encounter B. Roll a 5. I need to roll a d20 again to find out who am I fighting against. Good luck. I roll a 19, which is a Wraithskull. Okay, what's that? These fragile yet terrifying entities hover through the air, defying the laws of gravity. Tethered to the mortal realm only by dark magic, its disembodied presence is a chilling reminder of its unholy origins. As it seeks to feed upon the life force of the living to sustain its spectral existence. When it moves, an eerie whispering echoes through the air, a haunting symphony that strikes fear into all who hear it. The legends speak of fallen Valorian necromancers executed due to their ambition and condemned to serve as guards in the endless halls of the necropolis. It's an undead astral. It's not an elemental, which is fine. It has a pretty high awareness. Health is 5. Decent combat skill of 30, that's fine. And it's a humanoid. And it has 2 traits, which is undead and frightening. So let's find out more about the traits. So, frightening means it requires a successful resolve check, which I think I have experienced this in my last encounter with the Abyssal Vector. So I need to roll for resolve, otherwise I will lose 1 sanity. Okay, so let's put this in, and also it's undead. A creature with this trait is immune to charm, poison, and disease, restored by necrotic damage, and vulnerable to holy damage, which is not something that I will be using. Okay, so now let's get on to some combat. Let's check for initiative. Okay, now let's roll for... I don't think I can surprise. I have stealth. I can see if I can surprise that. And I'm not surprised. Alternatively, and only if your opponent hasn't surprised you, you can attempt to surprise them before combat. So you can compare your stealth against your opponent's awareness in an opposed check. So I can try to surprise this. So if I am successful, I do have a reduction of 10 for each follower. So in this case, I will have a minus 10 to my stealth because I have a skeleton with me. And the benefit of doing the surprise, if I am successful, I get a plus 20 in my first attack. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for the initiative roll to see who goes first. So how do I do that? My perception, which is 60 at the moment, versus its awareness of 60, I believe. So which is pretty high. It's over here. So let's do it. I think it's a pretty fair play. I'm gonna roll for mine and I'm gonna roll for the Wraithskulls. And I don't think I should be rolling for my skeleton. Do I roll for my skeleton? If there are more than 2, how do I resolve this? If there are rules for that. Nope, it didn't state anything. Oh yes, of course it has stated something. It has a... No, it doesn't have awareness, it doesn't have perception. So I don't think I'm supposed to resolve its initiative. Okay, so I'm just going to do it this way. It will be me running an opposed check to the Wraithskull, and then the Wraith Skeleton will be the last to attack. And who does the Wraithskull attack? It's a great question. Does it attack my skeleton or does it attack me? Let's find out. I think there's just, yep, companions and minions, awesome. So it allows it cannot be equipped with any gear. Interesting. You can only have a maximum of 3. And they attack and defend in combat the same way as any other character does. Okay. It heals all their health when a room has been cleared. They are not affected by sanity rules. Companions act in your turn in the order you wish them to. So if I go first, if I win the initiative check, I can decide if my skeleton goes first or I go first. Okay, I think I'm gonna just go ahead with some of the rules, some assumptions for this. In this case, I'm gonna just, the assumption would be that my opponent will be hitting me instead of my skeleton. Okay, let's go. Okay, I scored a 31, which is a pass. Okay, 31, which is, put an initial, which is Athena, which is an A, versus the Wraithskull. So it has to score higher than 31 and below 60. 17, wonderful, I win the initiative check. Okay, so Athena starts first. Okay, so now we enter combat proper. I'm gonna pit my one of my skills, my combat skills, against the Wraithskull's combat skill. So that'll be a D100. Okay, so I have total score of 60. That's a 10, and I do have a plus 10 if I have initiative. So, but it doesn't matter because I I rolled within my scores. That's fine. So I'm rolling for, so Athena rolls 10. Let's see. Okay, he rolls a 47, which is over his, I believe it's above the combat skills, his combat skill score. So he fails the defense, and I go on to, what this means is I have scored a hit. Okay. So next I'm gonna decide where is the hit location and then the damage. So I have to roll it's a humanoid. I have to roll a d20. Okay. It's a 9. So I have hit his abdomen again. And let me see if it has any armor. No armor, which is great. So, which is a hit on the abdomen. And let's see the damage that I'm causing it. Okay, I believe it's a d6 plus a d4. I'll roll for d6. There's a 5, which would be a 2 damage here. Plus a 3, which is a 1. So I'm supposed to add the 3 to the 5, which is an 8. And that would be 3, if I got the rules correctly. So I rolled a total of 8. So I'm supposed, this is a modifier. And I'm supposed to add the modifier to my, to the die, or to the dice where I rolled the lowest. So in any case, I have only one die. I will add the modifier score to this die. So a total of 8, which will be here, and it gives me a damage of 3 to the Wraithskull's abdomen. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. And it has no armor, so 3 damage. And Wraithskull is down to, I believe, 5 minus 3 equals to 2 health right now. So that's, I would declare this as the first round, round 1 and round 2, which not yet. This would be turn 1 actually. And I have the second turn, which my skeleton will try to attack this creature with a d6. It's a 4. That's a good roll, very good roll. So 5 to 7, no, 2 to 4 is 1 damage. Oh wait, I am gonna roll for the hit location first. 17. That would be its, oops, it's not here, it should be here. 17 would be its right arm. So the higher the roll, 19 and 20, I can score a hit on its weak spot, which is a critical hit, which means I can roll a 2d6, I believe. Anyway, let's move on with that. So I have scored a 1 damage from, my skeleton has managed to hit the right arm of the Wraithskull. Okay, 10 to skeleton. Skeleton hits. Do I need to roll for its combat skill? I think I've missed that out. Not too late. Yes, I do. I do have to. Okay, so I'm gonna put that aside first. I'm gonna rewind and I'm gonna do it again. So I'm gonna try to see if it hits. It's 86, it's a miss. Okay, so skeleton rolls an 86. It's an 86, which is a fail, skeleton. Versus, but that's not done yet. Let's see what happens to the Wraithskull. It's a 51, which is a fail. It didn't pass its defense check as well. So how do we resolve this? If you have two scores, an opposing check, you have two scores that are above the threshold, the higher one wins. Alright, so I would declare that as a hit, which is great. And I have a second chance. Maybe I'm not going to re-roll it. I'm just going to take the previous score that I had, which I rolled 3. And I scored a hit on his right arm as my final actions with 1 damage. So Wraithskull. So it's down to 1 life. 1, 2 minus 1 equals to 1 health on the second turn. So I have a turn 3, which is the Wraithskull's turn. So I'm gonna roll his D100. So it needs to score within 30 to be able to score a hit. Otherwise, it will fail. So 42, it fails. Too bad, just too bad. 42 for the Wraithskull, which is a fail, versus I'm gonna roll for mine, which is a 87. Sorry, 87 would be for Athena. And basically both we have rolled out of our threshold. I'm supposed to roll within 60, but I rolled 87. In this case, if both rolls are above our threshold, or the scores that we need to roll within, the higher one automatically wins. This will qualify as a successful defense. So I can do evasive strike. I have to roll for melee attack check. And if it's a hit, it will be a +10 for my next defense check. I don't think I want to do that. I would prefer to roll over here. I think these are pretty exciting. It's a 2. Reduce your opponent's armor by 1 in 1 random location until the end of combat. So in this case, he doesn't have an armor. Should I just roll again, or should I take it as there's no effect? I think what's fair would be to declare that there's no effect in this case, so I don't have an additional advantage of another second roll, which I'm pretty sure will be a roll that is much better than over here, which has no effect. So what makes sense to me would be not to re-roll it again and to just declare that this round there's no damage done. But that brings me back to the question, if there's no damage done in a single round or single turn, then does it not make the turn redundant, which will be determined again on the next turn, and that actually lengthens the game unnecessarily. So in this case, I would consider to reroll, just to speed things up a little. So, but there are other factors as well, such as whose turn is it, who's attacking, and so on. So I'm gonna think about it. Should I reroll? I think I will reroll it. A 7, which would be advantage on your next attack. So what does this mean? Advantage means that if I roll a, for example, if I score a 27 I can switch the 10s and the 1s the opposite way. So instead of a 27, it could be a 72 if it works in my advantage. I do have that option. That's what advantage means. So that's fine. I'm gonna keep it. So I'm done with 3 turns and I'm over to round 2. So I will go first to attack this time round. Turn 1, Athena. Let's see. Okay, I score a 64, which is above my combat skill, which is not great. So in this case, I will change it to 46 instead. You see how the effect of advantage works. To be honest, this is the first time I'm doing this. I just happened to read a couple of times on the book. It really helps to really understand the rules and to practice playing. So I would take this as a 46 versus, let's see, the Wraithskull, whether it defends against me successfully. So he has a 94, which is horrible. So I managed to score a hit. So far my creatures hasn't been able to hit me for some reason. And next I'm going to determine the location of the hit, as we did earlier on. I'll roll a d20. So here, and let's see, a 10, which is chest. Okay, and I'm going to determine my damage dealt on to the hit location of the chest. So, okay, a d6 and a d4, wonderful. So let's put it here. Chest. A 1, oh my goodness, that is so bad. And a 3, so I almost did not make it. This would mean that it is a 0 damage, which would mean I have not killed the Wraithskull. Look at this, it's a 0, but fortunately I have my modifier and I scored a 3. So 1 plus 3, that's 4, which will put me over here. 1 damage, which is so crucial for me to kill it. So I'm gonna resolve. Skull would be 1 minus 1. Would that be 1? Is that 1? Yes, so crucial. Wonderful. So I have killed the Wraithskull. So I have a 50 XP from this combat experience, and I will go on to check on the spoils table of the Wraithskull to see what I get, what I can roll. So I can roll on the spoils table. Oops, I think I have forgotten the frightening effect, which I can resolve right now. It's okay because it's sanity, and I don't think sanity has any impact or any influence during the battle. So I'm gonna roll for a total of 2 times 2 rolls for my resolve check. I would do 2 checks to be fair of my resolve. So my resolve is a 20, so I need to roll below 20 to pass the check. If I fail, which is a 20 and above, I would suffer 1 loss of sanity. Right, this is not easy. I've got 100. 13, not too bad. I passed the first one. 75, I lose the second one. So I would lose 1 sanity over here. I wonder if I can recover sanity. I believe I can. So that's an 8, which I will explore that in the other parts of the game, or rather the later sessions when I get to rest. I believe it's in the rest that I can recover some sanity, or perhaps there's something that I can consume or I can concoct and I consume that can help me to recover my sanity. So I'm gonna go down to my events table to indicate that I have lost 1 sanity due to frightening. Okay, so there you go, fair and square. And I'm going to check on the loots right now. Loots that would be under. Okay, over here. Items. This is exciting. This is something I look forward to a lot. Okay, let's see what can I do here. So I will roll on the spoils table a d6 to see what category of items do I get to roll. A 4, which would be under the valuable items. Not too bad. Okay, and over here I will roll a d20. 13, which is a fragment. Interesting, what's that? A fragment. So I have my spoils, would be a valuable item, and it's basically a fragment. Let's see what fragment do I have. I need to roll on a d20 again to see what fragments do I get. A 7. A vial filled with sickly green liquid. When thrown, it bursts into corrosive flames that deal 3d6 acid damage to all targets. Not too bad. Good. This is good. Acid damage 3d6 to all targets. Does that mean only unfriendly targets, or does it include my skeleton? No, I don't think so. So in this case, it's not an area effect, but more of targeted area effect, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in to record that I have this vial of 3d6 acid damage. Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna put it down into my main character sheet. Do I have any space to hold this? Where does it fall under? I'm sure I have some space for a vial. I can chuck it into my clothing or somewhere. So I'm gonna put it into maybe a Quickslot, I think. I'm not too sure about the rules. I probably gotta look it up again to be very sure. Okay, so I am done with the spoils. What I'm going to do next is to scavenge the area. So I go on to the scavenging area. I go on to the scavenging table, a d20. So I will roll to see what I get. A 5, which would be d4 crafting supplies. Okay. I'm not too sure what I can do with crafting supplies, but I'm sure it will come in handy someday when I need it. So I'm gonna roll this. A 4, which is great. Record it right down here. It's my journal. What else do I need to resolve? So probably I'm gonna travel out of this chamber and go back to the corridors and probably find another room to go to. But that's probably going to be for the next session, because I think I've spent quite enough of time. But let's have a look at Sanity since we are here. It has been quite smooth so far for the combat encounters. The doors not so much. If I have 0 sanity left, I would have to roll for madness check, which is a d10. And this is really bad because it could be the end of my game. But it could be also something like I gain 100 XP, which could be negative and on both spectrums of really negative and positive. So this is interesting. It can be recovered by resting, defeating an overseer or spells or certain gameplay events, which is fantastic. So this is something a little bit about Sanity. Alright. Okay, so let's see if I should go on to. I think I will leave the exploration for the next game, and we're good. And my skeleton is still intact with me, and I think that should be all. Thank you very much for joining me in this encounter and this third session of Ker Nethalas.